Tonight we start off by taking a deeper look into the accusations made against the former dean of the College of Pharmacy. We'll then update you on upcoming campus events and how you can get involved around campus. We'll also take a look nationally by updating you on the state of international relations as tensions continue to rise with the situation in Ukraine. Finally, grab your beads and get ready. Find out how Auburn celebrates Mardi Gras with this time-honored tradition. All of that and more is coming up next on Eagle Eye's Monday News at 6.
Good evening and welcome to Eagle Eye News at 6. I'm Blake Phillips.
And I'm Jack West. Last Thursday, the Plainsman published an article about the sexual misconduct of Dr. Richard Hansen, the dean of the Harrison School of Pharmacy. Eagle Eye's AJ Rivera sat down with the author, Tris Brown, in the latest episode of Plain Talk.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Plain Talk. I'm your host AJ Rivera and today I'm joined by Tris Brown. Tris is the multimedia managing editor for the Plainsman. Tris, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, AJ. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. Glad to have you with us. So recently you wrote an investigative article about the sexual misconduct of Richard Hansen, who is the now former dean of the Harrison School of Pharmacy. Can you take me through that article and your investigative process in writing it?
Right, so I wrote this story with the news editor, Mai Lee, and the two of us, we initially heard from the victim through like an anonymous Twitter account. It was actually her friend, but we got in contact with them and we started looking into the story. Initially, we thought the story was going to be about the dean being suspended, because at that time, that's what the information that we had suggested. And a lot of it involved going to a lot of different offices and being ping-ponged around, trying to figure out what it all could be confirmed as related to the case, because a lot of the stuff is not in public record just because of the nature of Title IX. But we exhausted pretty much every resource that we could. We collected all the documents that we could from the victim, and then we just hammered it out. It did not, obviously it turned out the way we ended because we thought it was going to be about his suspension. But I think it's honestly stranger that he wasn't, and then there was all of that. I think I described in the story where she was told he was going to be suspended, but then she was told, again, by Title IX that he wouldn't be suspended and they would not share what they would actually be doing. It was just a lot of very strange encounters and a lot of difficulties, but I'm glad that it's finally out and done.
Right, absolutely. So, as you talked about, with it being sexual misconduct of a, dean, Title IX being involved, what were your biggest takeaways about the Title IX process through, you looking into this story?
Right, so before this story, I had never really done anything with Title IX. The closest thing I could think of was that an editor who used to work with us did a story explaining Title IX, but I did not really understand the policy or its kind of sister policy, the policy against discrimination and harassment, which is kind of like the off-campus version of that. I did not have any real experience with it, but I think thinking about it now, I'd say we often think of Title IX as like this agent to bring justice to a victim, but I honestly don't really think that is its primary purpose. In speaking with other people who are very familiar with Title IX, when I was writing this story, and also just in the process of writing in all of the problems that we encountered with it, I'd say the definite purpose of Title IX is to limit a university's liability in cases of sexual harassment or any kind of discrimination. I think that was probably the biggest takeaway for me, was that it's a lot of things are not designed Well, a lot of things are designed so that like secrecy is maintained. So for example, there is this policy in recording meetings that are in a Title IX hearing where the university is the only like group that is able to make recordings of any meetings related to that. Like a victim cannot make their own recordings and then, for example, share it with us. So a lot of it is that there's not, it's not as like cut and dry, I guess, as we like to think of it as.
Gotcha. So it's been a few days now since this story was published on y'all's website. You know, what has been the public response to seeing this article and hearing this story?
I think the public response was a lot stronger than I thought it was going to be. I think people have been really, outraged. They've been very surprised. I was shared this email from the pharmacy department that came out the same day that we published the story earlier in the day, where it was like, hey, pharmacy students, Dean Hansen's doing, it's gonna let you park in his parking spot for a day for like the next like 24 days or something. Just kind of some promotional thing. And then we published the story around like noon, maybe 1, something like that. And then we got a lot of positive response on social media, on our website. I think it was a lot stronger than I thought it was going to be, which I think is very encouraging.
So the university and Eagle Eye reached out as a follow-up when this story broke. We reached out to the university about, the details regarding former Dean Hansen's resignation. And it came to our attention, as I'm sure it came to yours, that while he is resigned and is no longer the dean of the school, he still remains as a tenured professor. What was your reaction to that? Right.
In my speaking with Preston Sparks from OCM, he's still a professor. He is not currently teaching students, so I guess we're not sure like if he will in the future. But I think in understanding that was a little bit of a surprise. It felt like there was a lot of back and forth initially, I guess. Like there's been so many things in these cases where it's like we thought one thing was happening and then it turned out something else was happening. This kind of felt like a strange continuation of that. I think especially the response on social media has not been very good in terms of that. I was personally kind of surprised that happened, but also not really. It's just in cases like this, it's like things like that happen. Like people, they find a way, I guess. Yeah.
Gotcha. So where can the public find your article so they can read it for themselves?
Yeah, so they can find that at our website. That is theplainsman.com. I believe it is still the top story on the homepage, but if not, it'll be somewhere on there. Or you can check our social media. They've been getting a lot of traction there, so you'll definitely be able to find it.
Alrighty, well, for everyone watching at home, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Plain Talk. As always, Eagle Eye will be doing follow-up coverage on this story and all story and news in the Auburn area. You can check that out on our website, eagleeyeauburn.com, or on our social medias at Eagle Eye TV. I'm your host, AJ Rivera, and War Eagle.
Last Friday, Auburn University officials announced to students, faculty, and employees that starting February 23rd, the university would no longer require the use of masks inside on-campus buildings, regardless of vaccination status. The announcement, made via email, stresses that face coverings should still be worn in healthcare settings, university transportation services, including Tiger Transit buses, and other specified areas on campus. The email also notes that faculty members reserve the right to require individuals to wear masks during class instruction as a requirement of the course. For more information regarding the change in policy at Auburn University, visit our website, eagleeyeauburn.com, and search mask mandate.
The Auburn University COVID Resource Center has reported 77 new positive COVID cases for the week of February 7th through the 13th. This number is a slight decrease from the previous week's number of 133 cases, continuing a consistent decline and being the first week below 100 since Auburn students arrived back on campus here at Auburn for the spring semester. In addition, the center has also reported that out of 244 on-campus administrative tests, 38 came back with a positive result. That is a 15.5% positivity rate, which is a slight decrease from the previous week's 19.5% as well. The East Alabama Medical Center has seen a greater number of hospitalizations and ventilator usage since the start of the new semester. The center itself continues to reside in visitation level red. You can stay updated on Auburn's COVID situation by visiting the Auburn COVID Resource Center website.
The lift of the mask mandate comes as the number of COVID-19 cases continue to fall in the U.S. overall. That's the good news, but there's also some worrisome news. The stealth Omicron subvariant is spreading. Britt Conway breaks down what we know right now about how fast it spreads and how severe it could be.
They're going way down.
Nationwide, new COVID-19 cases, overall hospitalizations, and deaths all going down. But
You want to pull back and say we're done. Well, the virus may not be done with us.
case in point, BA2, a subvariant of Omicron. It appears to be about 30% to 50% more contagious than Omicron, and it's been detected in 74 countries and 47 U.S. states. The World Health Organization says the prevalence of BA2 appears to be increasing, both in countries experiencing a decline in Omicron cases and in countries that are in the growing phase of the wave.
It is showing some kind of level of transmission advantage.
Japanese researchers say this subvariant needs to be more closely monitored. Based on lab experiments yet to be peer-reviewed, they say it spreads faster and might cause more severe disease than Omicron. But severity in the real world is a different story. BA2 has gained a foothold in South Africa and the UK, and hospitalizations continue to decline. But in Denmark, where it's also the leading cause of infections, the WHO says hospitalizations and deaths are rising. The good news, we have the tools to fight the spread.
The things that we're doing to really protect ourselves, the vaccination, the other protective measures, are beating back the worst effects of Omicron.
But you have to be prepared to re-mitigate again if you see
When we return from this short break, find out what events are coming up on campus with our involvement update and take a look into the organizations benefiting from Tiger Giving Day this year. You're watching Eagle Eye News at 6. Student Involvement is proud to present on behalf of the Black Student Union, University Program Council, and Emerge at Auburn an exciting addition to the Black History Month celebration. On Thursday, February 24th at 6 p.m. in the Melton Student Center Ballroom, a moderated Q&A will take place with Yusuf Salam, followed by a meet and greet and a chance to take photos. Yusuf Salam is a member of the Central Park Five, as well as an award-winning motivational speaker, a New York Times bestseller. This event will be free and open to all Auburn students. For more information and a chance to RSVP for this event, visit aub.ie/Yusuf.
Speaking of student involvement, are you searching for activities that will get you in the Mardi Gras spirit? Well, look no further. Involvement Ambassador Travis Harrison is here to give you the scoop on all the activities and events you can get involved with on campus this week.
Hey everyone, it's time for our involvement update. As always, it's me, Travis Harrison, president of the Involvement Ambassadors. First up, on Saturday, the Auburn rowing team is having time to check out the sport of rowing. During their event, they're going to teach individuals the fundamentals of the sport and have time to spend on the water to develop skills. No experience is necessary to learn about rowing. This will take place at the River North Marina and will be from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. So go to AU Involved to find the exact address and more details about the event. On Tuesday, February 22nd, the Office of Sustainability and Diversity and Honors is hosting an outdoor film festival. The collection from the Oscillation Transia Film Festival will be shown. The films amplify the voices of Black, Indigenous, and other people of color. There will be free popcorn, hot chocolate, and tea that will be served, so make sure you bring your own mug or water bottle, chair or blanket, and dress for the weather for this event. It'll be held at the Pebble Hill Courtyard and begin at 5:30 and will end around 7:30. The last event we're going to talk about is student involvement hosting Dr. Yusuf Salem. This event is going to be hosted by the Black Student Union, the University Program Council, and Emerge at Auburn as part of Auburn's Black History Month celebration. It'll be on Thursday, February 24th at 6 p.m. There will be a moderated Q&A followed up by a chance to meet Yusuf Salem and take a photo with him. This event is open to any student, just make sure to RSVP on AU Involved before slots fill up. That's all that we have time to talk about this week, but as always, there are tons more events happening on AU Involved, so be sure to sign in to AU Involved and take a look at the events tab and attend to anything that catches your eye. Hope everyone's having a great week. War Eagle.
The Auburn University 2022 Tiger Giving Day is set to take place on February 23rd, including a record-breaking lineup of 50 projects that you can support. This year's fundraising event aims to unite both campus and community needs with the generosity of students, faculty, alumni, and community members. For a total of 24 hours, the Auburn family will have a chance to support a variety of campus-wide projects and see the impact of their generosity through continuous updates that can be found on the Tiger Giving website. The project lineup for this year consists of the restoration of a classic airplane with the School of Aviation, a pet care emergency fund initiative, providing health care to the Black Belt, and more. Tiger Giving Day has funded hundreds of projects since 2015. For more information on how you can contribute to this time-honored tradition, visit tigergiving.org to learn more about the event.
Assistant professor in Auburn University's College of Education, David Marshall, has recently edited and contributed to a new book that examines the way schools in the U.S. handled the COVID-19 pandemic. The book, titled COVID-19 in the Classroom: How Schools Navigated the Great Disruption, is one of the first of its kind, providing research insight into the impact COVID had on K-12 educational system. Marshall specifically contributed to the introduction and first 5 chapters of the book, in addition to serving as its editor. When asked about his experience while completing his work, he stated, "The chance to work with my current students and recent graduates who were students of mine, and to have them all as a part of this project was something that was pretty special for me." The book was published on January 31st by Lexington Books and is available for purchase through Amazon, as well as the Roman and Littlefield website.
On Sunday, February 20th, Queen Elizabeth II tested positive for COVID-19. Max Foster reports.
The Queen was tested on Sunday and the test came back positive, and we were informed shortly afterwards, we understand. Her Majesty is experiencing mild cold-like symptoms, according to the palace, but expects to continue light duties at Windsor over the coming week. So that effectively means desk work, virtual meetings. It means that she continues working. She's well enough to continue working. So an indication there that the palace doesn't seem too concerned about her condition. However, they added she will continue to receive medical attention and will follow all appropriate guidelines. That suggests that she is currently in isolation, which are the English guidelines currently. We were also told by a royal source that a number of cases have been diagnosed in the Windsor Castle team. That suggests an outbreak within the castle. Perhaps that's where she caught it. We also know that the Prince of Wales, Prince Charles, had COVID last week. Also, Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, had COVID. Charles had met the Queen, but there seems to be a Windsor outbreak. So that appears to be the cause of the Queen catching it. We'll be monitoring this closely. She is 95 years old, but at the moment the palace doesn't seem too concerned, according to their communications. Max Foster, CNN, Hampshire, England.
When we come back, take a look at nationally developing situation in Ukraine and why the conviction of one Minnesotan officer is sparking protests. You're watching Eagle Eye TV, Auburn's TV news leader.
President Joe Biden says he believes Russian President Vladimir Putin has made up his mind and will invade Kiev in the days ahead. As the world watches the rapidly escalating crisis at the Ukraine border, the president laid out how the U.S. and its allies will respond. Mary Maloney reports.
A dire warning from President Joe Biden.
We have reason to believe the Russian forces are planning to and intend to attack Ukraine in the coming week, in the coming days.
The commander-in-chief highlighting increasing ceasefire violations by Russian-backed fighters in the breakaway regions, including at a Ukrainian kindergarten, and their attempts to falsely blame Ukraine for the violence.
We're calling out Russia's plans loudly and repeatedly, not because we want a conflict, but because we're doing everything in our power to remove any reason that Russia may give to justify invading Ukraine and prevent them from moving.
Biden's comments come after his phone call with various NATO heads of state. He says the U.S. and its allies are keeping the door to diplomacy open, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken will meet with his Russian counterpart on February 24th.
If Russia takes military action before that date, we'll be clear that they have slammed the door shut on diplomacy. They will have chosen war, and they will pay a steep price for doing so.
The Deputy National Security Advisor for International Economics laying out that price.
The most severe measures we've ever contemplated against Russia.
The plan, a combination of financial sanctions and export controls.
Financial sanctions deny foreign capital to Russia, and export controls deny critical technological
During an emotional sentencing hearing Friday, a former Brooklyn Center, Minnesota police officer Kim Potter learned just how long she will have to spend in prison for the shooting death of Daunte Wright. Potter was convicted of first and second-degree manslaughter in December. Potter says she mistook her gun for her taser during the April 2021 traffic stop, fatally shooting the young black man. Chris Nguyen has more.
In Minnesota, sentencing day in the case of former Brooklyn Center police officer Kimberly Potter.
It is the sentence and judgment of this court that you shall be committed to the custody of the Commissioner of Corrections for a period of 24 months.
The defendant was found guilty in December of 2 counts of manslaughter. Potter, a 26-year police veteran, testified that she mistook her gun for her taser when she fatally shot Daunte Wright, a 20-year-old black man, during a traffic stop last spring.
A police officer who's supposed to serve and protect took so much away from us. She took our baby boy with a single gunshot through his heart. She shattered mine.
During the hearing, Potter addressed Wright's family, asking for forgiveness.
I pray for Daunte and all of you many times a day.
Wright's family previously asked the judge to hand down the maximum sentence, which he opted not to do, citing the uniqueness of the case.
She never intended to hurt anyone. Her conduct cries out for a sentence significantly below the guidelines.
Under Minnesota law, Potter is required to serve 2/3 of her sentence in prison. With good behavior, she'll be eligible for supervised release for the other third.
I walk out of this courthouse feeling like people are laughing at us because this lady got a slap on the wrist.
I'm Chris Wynn reporting.
The number of unruly passengers on airplanes is growing. The Federal Aviation Administration has reported nearly 500 incidents so far just this year. Now, some airlines are calling on the Justice Department for help. CNN's Pete Muntean has the story.
Faced with a man trying to open the door of an American Airlines flight, court documents say the flight crew turned to a coffee pot to subdue him. Police have now charged 50-year-old Juan Humberto Rivas with interfering with a flight attendant. This as even more unruly airline passengers are facing federal punishment. The FAA is now handing 43 cases to the Department of Justice so it can bring charges against those accused of assaulting fellow passengers and flight crews, both physically and in some cases sexually. If found guilty, they could face jail time.
The flight attendants who are working these flights have been punched, kicked, spit on, disrespected, and constantly under assault.
Sarah Nelson of the Association of Flight Attendants says the numbers are off the charts. The now 80 total cases referred to the Justice Department make up only 1% of the 6,480 incidents reported by flight crews since the start of last year.
Until we have people actually landing in jail and understanding that there's real consequences for acting out on a flight, we're not going to see these incidents go down.
Airlines have asked the Justice Department to keep unruly passengers from boarding flights in the first place, a move 8 Republican senators say should be up to Congress to decide. In a new letter, they insist most unruly passenger incidents are related to the federal transportation mask mandate. They say creating a federal no-fly list for unruly passengers who are skeptical of this mandate would seemingly equate them to terrorists. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says a no-fly list should be considered and more passengers should be put behind bars to keep numbers down.
There is no acceptable level of unruly behavior on aircraft, especially when it is not only disrespectful but dangerous toward flight crews and other passengers.
When we return, find out what National Day is being celebrated. Then grab your beads and get ready. We have one Mardi Gras celebration you won't want to miss. Stay tuned.
Wondering why you couldn't deposit a check at your bank or mail a letter to your grandma today? Well, it would probably be due to the fact that today is President's Day, a time of patriotic celebration and remembrance. President's Day is a federal holiday that is celebrated on the third Monday of every February year. The holiday was first established in 1885 in recognition of our first president, George Washington. Later, it became the President's Day we know today after it was moved as part of the 1971 Uniform Monday Holiday Act in an attempt to create more three-day weekends. President's Day is a chance to celebrate all U.S. presidents, both past and present. You can celebrate by looking up some cool facts about your favorite presidents.
Grab your beads and head on over. Auburn's annual Cruz de Tigress Mardi Gras Parade is set to be held on February 26, 2022 in downtown Auburn starting at 3 p.m. The history of the Cruz de Tigress lies in myth and magic, said to be magnificent in a yellow gold coat striped with black. The tiger is rumored to pace the plains of Auburn with grace. The parade will be held in the entertainment district with a number of amenities designed for the fun of the whole family. For more information about the upcoming parade, visit autourism.com.
Meet Jimbo. This sweet senior is ready to show you his love and loyalty. Although he is older, it doesn't stop his younger side from showing. He gives good cuddles and just loves to hang out by your side. Jimbo is microchipped, vaccinated, fixed, and FIV/FELV negative. His adoption fee is only $115. Swipe right on Forever with Jimbo. Now, we're out of time, but for more Auburn news, head over to our website, eagleeyeauburn.com, and check out our social media pages. I've been Blake Phillips.
And I'm Jack West. Thank you for watching, and War Eagle.